we are ready to consider agreeing not to harm the energy infrastructure. We are in favor of resuming, in a more acceptable form, of the Black Sea Initiative. The Black Sea Initiative as a priority was discussed in Riyadh, and our position is simple. We're not going to take anyone's word. We're not going to take that man's word. We want the grain and fertilizer markets to be predictable. We want to be sure that nobody tries to drive us away from this market. Not just because we want to get our earned revenues, but because we worry about the food security in African countries and in other countries of the global South and the global East that have been affected by those games played by the West. Considering this history of changing mind, every time a truce is announced or a ceasefire, and every time Ukraine agrees to that, only because at this specific moment Ukraine finds itself cornered on a battlefield, and the moment there is a pause in hostilities, it takes them 2 weeks or a month to violate the ceasefire. This has always been the case. This time, we need very clear working guarantees. Napoleon and Hitler, they had the same goals. And for those goals, Napoleon and Hitler had first conquered the entire Europe before attacking Russia. And just like now, Germany, instigated by Ursula von der Leyen, is starting to look again at remilitarization. That's going to cost them stratospheric hundreds of billions of euros when they are in dire straits in the economic and social sphere. Trump said it clearly that Ukraine has to forget about possibly joining NATO, that Biden had made a colossal mistake by refusing to listen to Russia and insisting that Ukraine join NATO, thus creating an existential threat to us. Trump said it clearly that Ukraine has to forget about possibly joining NATO, that Biden had made a colossal mistake by refusing to listen to Russia and insisting that Ukraine join NATO, thus creating an existential threat to us. A lot of steps were taken, aimed, as it turned out, at driving the price. We're creating a situation of unfair competition, but the bias of our Western counterparts showed that Ukrainian grain was dumped into European markets at very low prices, although its quality was far below the necessary criteria. Well, basically, the West was doing everything to protect Ukraine and punish Russia as much as possible. How prone the Ukrainian military is towards provocation. Recently, they attacked the gas pumping station in Suja and blamed it all on Russia, despite the fact that the Suja station is our own property, that determines the reliability of gas supplies to a whole number of European countries, and now it's impossible to do. Just as it is impossible to use the Caspian Pipeline Consortium that belonged to businesses of Kazakhstan and the United States. And its Kropotkinskaya compressor station was attacked. And that's something that we won't be able to fix soon. So gas supplies for European consumers are going to drop significantly thanks to another terrorist attack by Ukraine. The UN Secretary General is going a different way. He's looking for loopholes in sanctions introduced by the West without demanding their cancellation. Well, for a UN official, for any official for that matter, especially for a UN Secretary General, it's absolutely unacceptable because the UN Charter says that no UN Secretariat official, including, of course, the Secretary General, cannot be taken orders from any government. And if the Secretary General is looking for loopholes in sanctions while admitting that sanctions exist, then he's obviously obeying decisions that were made in UN country capitals.